Your Steve Jones Show podcast will start shortly. The Steve Jones Show podcast is sponsored by Brewers Outlet, your beverage supermarket on Reagan Street in Sunbury. Sports talk where your voice counts. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now, from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Today's show brought to you by Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Imports, domestics, microbrews, the best selection of beer anywhere. Wine coolers, water, soft drinks, snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and hot every day. 6 great flavors of slushies, and the pickle bar led by the barrels and the dills, indeed second to none. Why don't you stock up tonight and beat the storm and get ready for the playoffs at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. And we are in the Sunbury Motors studio. Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 Hummels Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. Gerry Dulac in a moment, but first, our play-by-play call of the day. Mark Few's son gets on the board.
And Joe Few has got himself a rebound. He also was fouled, so that means he's going to the free throw line. Now, I don't believe he has scored yet. You can see Dad over there.
I promise you Mark Few's nervous right now.
He's trying to act cool. Yeah, there we go. And he gave a little fist pump. Did you see that?
That is so cool.
His kid's on the board.
Yeah, I see that with Steven Izzo with Tom. Most coaches on the collegiate level will tell you that if their sons are playing for them, they would really prefer them to be one of two things. Either A, the best player on the team, or one of the guys you bring off the bench at the end. No, it kind of makes life easier, both scenarios. In between, a little tougher. All right, that's at least what they've told me. Gerry Dulac, let's get him now from the Steelers Radio Network, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Happy New Year, my good friend. So great to have you back.
Well, Steve, always good chatting with you. Happy New Year to you as well. And, of course, every time I hear your voice, it just takes me to Saturday afternoons in the fall. And it's always a treat to be with you. I will tell you, relative to that coach's son theory, I basically agree with you. And I saw the worst possible case scenario with Ralph Willard and his son Kevin, who is now a head coach, whereas Kevin was in between, and he treated him like a starter, and it caused problems with the rest of the team. So, yeah, you either want to be Buddy Boeheim or you want to be the guy who's helping out the collective GPA and coming in with 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, no question. That's why I'll tell you the one I look at right now before we get to the Steelers. I always find it interesting, the Iowa situation with the McCaffrey sons, because they're not the best, but they're one starts, the other one comes out to be whatever. So I'll deal with that next Saturday when I get out there. All right.
Right.
All right. So the Steelers are in, and the news today is Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out. Tyreek Hill is in, and JuJu Smith-Schuster might be in. So let's start with JuJu. What do you know about him, Gerry?
Well, he has been cleared to play, and partly because he's really made, a miraculous recovery. He healed very quickly. When they did the surgery on his shoulder, they did not think that he would play again this season, possibly in the postseason, but not even then. But he has healed very quickly, and he wants to play. Now, we shall see where he is in terms of conditioning. I think if he does play, it's going to be a limited amount. The Steelers are hoping he can play. I've been told yesterday they weren't planning on it. That doesn't mean that he won't play. But this is JuJu, and this is his decision, and I think it points up a couple things which I've been told about him. One, this guy loves to play. He does not like to miss games. Two, he is a tough SOB. He plays that way, and he's cleared physically to play. But there's always that chance. Maybe you're just coming back a little too soon. Maybe. And 3, look, he's a free agent, Steve, at the end of the year. So I'm sure he wants to show these teams that I'm good to go. By next year I'll be even better. But if I can play now, I'll be good next year. So there won't be any questions or doubts about how he comes back from that shoulder injury. But he has healed remarkably quickly, and that's why he's in the position that he is right now. I expect him to dress. This is more than just giving Kansas City something to think about, although I'm sure that's in play too. Maybe make their defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, spend a little extra time with what to do with their wide receiver sets if he plays. But I don't think he will go in there and play 52 plays. I think it's more likely he'll play 15 to 20 if he does. But I'm kind of expecting him to play.
I've always looked at the Melvin Ingram acquisition by Kansas City as a domino acquisition. That's just me, where it took Chris Jones, who was a terrific defensive tackle, was forced to play end where he was a good end, and moved him back to defensive tackle where he's terrific. What kind of problem does that cause the Steeler offensive front that now Jones is more in his natural spot because of Ingram's presence?
Well, there's no question Chris Jones is the most dominant player on that defense. They have several very good players, including Tyrone Matthew in the back end. Clark is pretty good as well. But Chris Jones is the one who makes that defense go. And when he was able to move back inside, that's when their defense started to kick in again. Where Melvin Ingram's presence is felt most is in the Steeler defense. And by that I mean not having him there, when they decided to trade him. And that's because he was unhappy. It wasn't that he was unhappy with his role per se. He was unhappy with his role because he felt his role was misrepresented to him when he signed here. Basically, that he felt lied to. And that's why he wanted out. And so, when they signed him, I thought that was the perfect acquisition. A veteran, former Pro Bowler who could come in and play 20, 25 snaps and there not be a big drop-off when he comes into the game. And after Bud Dupree left and Alex Highsmith moved up to the starting spot opposite T.J. Watt, I thought that was significant. Now, from a resume standpoint, from a production standpoint, from what Mike Tomlin likes to call a body of work standpoint, Taco Charlton and Derek Tuska don't equal Melvin Ingram. So I thought that was a big drop off when they traded him, but they felt they had no other choice. And he's played well. Now his numbers, aren't staggering, but his presence, as you pointed out, has allowed Chris Jones to move back to where he's most effective.
All right. T.J. Watt obviously needs to be a factor. I felt anytime I watched Kansas City this year, I know they were winning, but I'd love to know the next-gen stat, which usually doesn't interest me, but this one I'd be interested in. How many yards running around did Patrick Mahomes cover this year? I mean, every time I turned around, I felt like he was moving somewhere trying to get away from something. What can Watt mean in that realm, but what can it mean if Kansas City feels they need to chip with Travis Kelce before sending him out?
Yeah, he's probably a 1,000-yard rusher for as much as he moves around and extends the play. The funny thing is he is just as dangerous, maybe more dangerous, when he's out of the pocket, moving around. His mechanics obviously don't break down on the run. That's when he makes the biggest plays, because the chaos in the secondary then exists because, you're worried about where Tyreek Hill is. Their whole receiving crew is built on speed, so you're always worried about over the top. And so it's almost as though, as crazy as it sounds, it's almost as though you just want to let him sit in the pocket. And if he sits in the pocket and he's there 5 seconds, let him sit in the pocket and maybe hope T.J. Watt gets to him. Because when he starts, he's under pressure, he might even be better. And so I think where T.J. Watt can be effective is not just with pressure, but if you're going to get pressure, you better be able to touch him, hit him, or bring them down. But I think the other important thing that's going to be a factor in this game, Steelers are going to have to get turnovers. They're going to have to take the ball away. They gave it to them 3 times the last time, and they just turned it into 17 points. The Steelers beat Tennessee because Tennessee gave it to them 4 times in their own territory. Nothing outside the 41. The Steelers converted, even though they did nothing in terms of moving the ball after those takeaways, they still converted them into 4 field goals, 12 points in a 2019 game, and that's why they won. So they're going to have to not just win the turnover battle, they're going to have to take the ball away and not give the ball back at points to the Chiefs if they want to win. And Steve, this isn't going to be, Steelers aren't going to win 37-31 or 34 or 37-34 or 34-31. If the Steelers win, it's going to be because of mistakes, blunders, good, lucky bounces, and they're going to win, 23-20, 22-19, that kind of game. That's the only way, to me, the Steelers can win this game because their offense just doesn't produce points.
They don't. Although if I have the option, and I'm the Steelers, I want my offense on the field first. And the only reason I say that is I'm trying to reduce his possessions. And if I start with the ball, I've already taken him off the field for a possession.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Now, of course, I say they don't score points. They score points in the fourth quarter with Ben Roethlisberger, but they don't score points otherwise. But go back to the last game, Steve. The Chiefs deferred. Steelers went on the field. Second play of the game, Ben throws an 18-yard pass to Deontay Johnson for a first down. Then it's 3 plays, an out punt. They give the ball to the Chiefs at like their 24, 25, whatever it was. And 14 plays later, 8 passes by Mahomes, bang, touchdown. And then, you start factoring in the turnovers. There's 17 more points. And, right off the bat, it's 23-0 at halftime, and they're done. Yeah. And so that's what they have to avoid. If they get the possession and if they win the toss, I think they'll probably defer. Maybe not. But they have, and when I said about Mahomes, with the 8 passes, he converted 3 first downs on that opening drive. Well, that's what they're going to have to try to prevent. Easier said than done, I realize, but right off the bat, that's what happened, and they got behind the chains, they got behind the 8 ball, and you're just not going to recover, for the most part, against a team like that.
It's interesting because I look at Kansas City and I feel like they can look at this game like quarter by quarter. We winning at the end of the quarter, we winning at the half. I feel like the Steelers had to play this game possession by possession. Fair?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they can look at it. They can't sit there and say, well, we've been good in the fourth quarter. But what the Steelers do is they hang around. They keep the game close for the most part. Now, I say that, and yet 4 road games this year, they were blown out by halftime. Well, certainly 3 of them. Cincinnati 31-3, Minnesota 23-0. Kansas City 23-0, all at the half, and L.A. against the Chargers, they came back in the fourth quarter, and at one point it was 31-3, I think it was, but at halftime it was a modest 21-10. That's not a big blowout for them, but that's what they've been doing this year on the road, and yet they've always been a team that kind of keeps the game close. And obviously that's what they're going to try and do here. And, Steve, look at what Ben Roethlisberger has done. Has it been a great year for him? No, of course not. But when you look at what he's done in the fourth quarter, and a couple weeks ago he was still leading the league in fourth quarter passing. Yep. But of their 9 victories, 7 have been because of his comeback drives in the fourth quarter. And we saw that last week against Baltimore, not just the game winner in what they thought was the game winner in the fourth quarter, but the game-winning drive again then in overtime. And his, he throws for 95 yards for 3 quarters. And then he completes 15 of his last 19 for 149 yards, 2 game-winning drives, if you will, and they win the ball game. And it's really, it's really remarkable to see at age 39 in a year where, again, statistically not very good. What he's been able to do in the fourth quarter really, magical, of course, is a strong term, but it's really been kind of nice to see for his sake and somewhat remarkable as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally. So the final question I'll ask to you is this. Okay. Why the fourth quarter? What is different in the fourth quarter than the other three quarters? And I don't mean just for him, but I mean for the offense in general.
Well, for the offense in general, it's him just taking control. It's
right.
him calling the plays. It's him going no huddle. It's him, the touchdown last week, Chase Claypool. Ben changed his play at the line of scrimmage. The funny thing about that is that, the two tight ends didn't get to change. And so if you notice on that touchdown, he hit this just a little bit because he realized, wait a minute, those guys ran the pattern for the other play. And
right.
So then Claypool, of course, got the change of the signal, and he threw the touchdown to him. So that's the change in the offense. And the change in Ben, there is no change in Ben. Well, let me say this. There's a change in how he plays, but it's just hard to explain. He knows he's a slow starter. Now, that goes beyond being a slow starter. But, Steve, that's his signature. Only one quarterback in history has more game-winning drives, and only two have more fourth-quarter comebacks. And one of them is Tom Brady in each category, and Peyton Manning's the other.
Right.
So Elway, Marino, Kelly, you go right down the list. None of them have had more fourth-quarter comebacks than this guy. That's his signature. And when the game is on the line, that's when he is at his best, and that's when he's at his calmest. And it really is. It's remarkable to see. And I think this year, considering how poorly they've played, and at his age, that in that fourth quarter he is still doing that 7 times already this year, most in his career, is remarkable.
There will be some Steeler fans that will look at when he's not there and finally will understand what they're missing.
That's exactly right. Last week of being a perfect example.
Yep. I mean, I've said this for years. I said they've had a lot of great players. He's the one guy they couldn't lose.
That's exactly right.
Gerry, always a pleasure. Thank you, my friend. Great work as always. We appreciate you so much.
Well, Steve, thank you, and I'll look forward to our next chat.
Yes, very much so. All right. Thanks, Gerry.
All right, Steve. See you, man.
Gerry Dulac, Steelers Radio Network, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Great seeing one team in the professional ranks in this state with a professional quarterback. It's great. Just kidding.
Oh, my almighty!
I'm just kidding. Did you hear me praise Hurts in the previous segment?
You did, yes. That was a perfect conversation.
Have I praised Hurts a lot during the course of the season?
When warranted, yeah. You've been fair.
No, I mean, the only time I really criticized him was the Giants game.
Well, yeah, and everybody did. I did, even.
No, I mean, most Eagles fans criticized him in 8 or 9 other games, too. But that's because you're, quote, honest. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure you are. Filled with hate. Yeah. Jalen Hurts, Santa Claus, what's the difference? All right, we'll come back with more in a moment. Great to have you with us today. Oof. We got snow totals you're talking about there, 6 to 10?
That's correct.
I think that's what they're saying here, too.
You scared me for a second. I thought they just got upped.
No, I don't think they're going up.
Okay, good.
I mean, where I'm going, it's not going to snow. It sounds like it's not going to start here till 7 tomorrow.
Yeah, you should be good getting back then from Columbus.
7 Sunday, I mean. Yeah. 7 Sunday. Well, no, but I told you about the note we got yesterday for the post-game show.
Right.
Basically, the note was, make it fast. We got to get out of there. Because we got to get to the airport first. It's a half hour to the airport.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go.
I mean, and a couple quick check marks, and away we go. Okay. We'll take a break. Today's show brought to you by Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
When car repairs get difficult.
Well, I just don't know.
Me neither.
We get good. Sunbury Motors. More than quality new and used cars, Sunbury Motors specializes in complicated auto repair diagnosis. They can handle intricate repairs and even complete auto body with service open Monday through Friday, 7 till 4. And Sunbury Motors has made simple repairs easy. Maintaining your vehicle is necessary. Finding the time to do it is difficult. Welcome to Sunbury Motors Quick Lane. Open 7 till 4 Monday through Friday. Just walk in or call ahead. Relax in their remodeled waiting room with Wi-Fi, beverages, and snacks. While Sunbury Motors factory trained techs take care of your oil change, tire alignments, brakes, and inspections. Quick Lane, 6:30 to 6 Monday through Friday. Saturday, 6:30 till 2. Sunbury Motors, Ford and Hyundai, North 4th Street, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. We take the out of auto repair.
Been a very tough show for Matt today. Mentally, he's not here. He's down in Tampa with the team, his guys.
I wish. I don't care if it's going to rain.
Well, of course not. You'll be sitting at home watching it snow.
That's also true.
Actually, are you going to? You'll see half the game?
I'll be able to watch the first half at home, and then I'm going to watch most of the second half, hopefully all of the rest of the game, on my phone from my spot at the scores table at Stoica as I await the women's tip-off.
When the game tips off, you're still going to be watching your phone?
I'll have it on in the background. We'll leave it at that. But I'll be focused. I can multitask.
Oh, brother.
Taking your calls at 800-795-9565. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now, from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Time now for the No Guts, No Glory segment. Brought to you by our... I mean, really, what it comes down to with you. I'm concerned. Today's show brought to you by... Look, go tonight. Stock up tonight. Or tomorrow morning, but go tonight. Since I'm telling you right now, go. Brought to you by Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Imports, domestics, microbrews, best selection of beer anywhere. You got 6 football games this weekend. 2 tomorrow, 3 Sunday, 1 Monday night, and a snowstorm to boot. Okay? Wine coolers, water, soft drinks, lots and lots of snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and hot every day. Merrill Reese endorsed them. 6 great flavors of slushies in the pickle bar, led by the Barrels and the Dills, Indeed. Yes, you there on I-80. Indeed, second to none. All at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. And we are in the Sunbury Motors studio. Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf, online at sunburymotors.com. All right. So let's bring in the king.
King.
Wow. Wow. I like the sound of that. Hey, what up?
Get the lingerie on the deck. Call the janitor.
What you doing today? Oh, boy.
I'm just doing. See, what did I do today? See, so today, let's see, I took out the dog. I brought up 2 loads of wood. Brought up 2 loads of wood for the wood stove.
You got a wood stove? How cool is that? You chop the wood?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
no,
like
I
Daniel
haven't
freaking Boone.
That's me.
My almighty!
I took down outdoor lights. Then I prepped the Ohio State game. That's all set. And then I'm going to pack tomorrow morning, and I'm going to fly to Columbus.
Cool. Look forward
Unfortunately, Columbus is a tough city, huh?
Yeah, well, it's, I'll be staying in
watching 2020. I watch all those, people who get killed and murdered.
Yeah.
And, man, the parents of one girl said Columbus is just a vicious city, not a safe city at night. So I never realized that. I lived in Ohio for a few years, and that Columbus always seemed like a decent place, but guess not. So.
I will be indoors ordering out, watching games. Then the game is Sunday. The game's Sunday at noon. Then we'll get out of there. So,
what time are the games this weekend?
4:30 tomorrow.
The Eagles are in it. How did I miss the Eagles making the playoffs?
Oh, that's okay. Most of America did too.
I wasn't even convinced myself.
It's like the NFC East stinks, but good for Jalen Hurts. He's good. I like him.
No, Hurts has become. I think he is the long-term solution there.
Yeah,
no question.
Guy's a winner.
He is the
Everywhere he goes,
solution.
He
Yeah,
he's got a good hat on. Remember Alabama? I mean, that was just amazing. He wins the national championship, and then he's a backup the next year. How do you do that?
And then when they needed him against Georgia, he came off the bench.
Yeah,
won the game for him.
He's amazing. So, their quarterbacks are starting to pan out. We'll see Mac Jones this weekend. I know he's getting criticized pretty heavy right now, but it's like, my God, he's played 1 year in college, and now he's in the playoffs in the NFL. Right. So give him a break, Yeah. People forget that.
Well,
they think he just sat on the bench at Alabama. He had Hurst and Tagovailoa, whatever his name is.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Whatever. Is his brother a quarterback for Illinois or something?
Maryland.
No, Maryland. Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay.
Yeah, Tua Tagovailoa.
So name I can't say.
So guess what? I have to say it over and over and over again for 3.5 hours. So
I don't know how you do it, man. So
that's why I do what I do.
Hey, back when we loved New England or loved the East here, even Pennsylvania is the same type of weather. I'm tired of the winter, man. The winter's really dragging me down this year. It's getting in the way.
I'll tell you right now, I went down to the Outback Bowl, and I was down there Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I didn't leave till 10:30 Saturday night.
Yeah.
And it was 80 degrees every day. I looked around, I said, this isn't bad. This isn't bad.
Rude awakening when you came back, wasn't it?
Sister and brother-in-law are down there now, and they're laughing at us, They're like, yeah you're right. Because, I got a job I got to have out of here Monday at noontime, which I'm going to have to work all weekend, and I need to be working on that stupid house that's just like my Achilles heel, and I can't. But Monday morning, we're supposed to have like a foot of snow. I'm like, I told the buyer, I said, I don't even know if I can get here. And she says, you have to get there. I'm like, geez, I have to get here. I'm going to risk my life driving through those stupid hills. But they have to have 1,000 parts by noon. I'm like, I'm done with the winter. If it was the springtime, no problem. I'd come in at 3 in the morning,
Right.
But I live in the hills, and I'm telling you that they are treacherous. And since the college kids aren't coming back for 2 weeks, they don't care about the roads around there. If the college kids are there, it's like, they'll start plowing today and sanding today to make sure everything's okay.
Right.
But they're not going to be there for 2 weeks, so they'll like, all right, we'll get to it when we get to it. So,
well,
I'm complaining. So,
yeah, well, we'll play Beat the Clock on Sunday. Our game's at noon, and we'll be out of there. We're going to fly back. They say it's not supposed to start here till 7, so if that's the case, should be okay.
And you don't want to fly in the.
Oh, no, believe me.
So.
I can see it now. We're going to go to Pittsburgh and bus. Oh, that's safer? Really? Hey, they make these decisions. You sit there and go, no. I'll give you one. And this happens a lot. All right? They'll take the basketball plane into Pittsburgh. And they were in Florida for a tournament. They flew them to Pittsburgh. And Dick Girardi was on the basketball trip, and I was doing football that weekend. And Dick said to me, we're going to Pittsburgh. I said, geez, we just landed in State College. So Dick went up to the pilot and said, the football plane just landed in State College. The guy goes, really? It's like, not the answer you want.
Oh, God, you don't even want to know my plane stories. I'm not. I do work on them. You don't want to know. But they're perfectly safe, so.
Yeah, sure. Oh.
You wouldn't believe what companies get away with today. So.
Oh. Did I ever tell you the Wyoming story, Matt, on the air?
That I don't know, actually.
Okay. So I'll make this fast because we have to do the picks. Fly into Denver, and Penn State is going to play in a basketball tournament in Casper, Wyoming. So I fly into Denver. We get on the plane. We're overweight. Now, I know why we're overweight. It's because of all the basketball equipment in the bottom. This is a commercial flight. We need 3 people to leave the plane. Oh, okay. So one guy volunteers. Okay, and they offered him $250 in flight incentives. Okay. So one guy gets up and leaves. We need 2 more. So she says, that's it, I'm picking 2 people. So she picks 2 Penn State basketball players, Dave Deggets and Freddie Barnes. So Bruce raises his hand and says, we're the Penn State basketball team, we're going in, but okay, everybody for basketball is exempt. Okay. So I'm sitting in the last row. I'm like going, okay, that's good. So she says, and nobody raises their hand. She said, we're picking 2 people. She picks 2 people, and one guy takes his fist and he slams it on the seat. And he says, what? I can't believe it. Sir, I'm offering you $250 in continental flight incentives. He goes, we'll make it $2,500. I'll do a cartwheel. Right? She gets on the radio, calls security. Security comes on the plane, hauls him off. I'm like, hey.
Okay.
So now we fly into Casper. Casper doesn't have a jetway, but it's a rear exit plane. So I'm the first guy off the plane because I'm in the last row. Second guy, maybe. So I go down to baggage claim, and there's this woman standing there at baggage claim. She says, are you the flight from Denver? I said, yes, as a matter of fact, we just got here. Okay, good. Well, I'm here to pick up my dog. I said, oh, that's great. She says, my fiance Tim was on the plane, but got kicked off because of some stupid basketball team. I looked at her and I said, I recall the incident. So she calms down a little bit and she says, so you're here to see family, business? I said, I'm here on business. She goes, really? What's your business? I said, I'm with the stupid basketball team. And she looks at me, she says, I said, no. I said, what happened to him was awful. I said, oh, my right. We'll take a break. Back with more in a moment here on News Radio 1070. Okay.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is because it's Brewers Outlet time. The beverage supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you. And thank you for your years of patronage.
All right, let's get to it here.
Here we go.
All playoff games to pick.
Super wild card weekend.
All I know is that I'm going to be so disappointed if somebody flushes their loyalty points down the drain.
All right. Well, we'll find out in a little bit. But first, I'm in the lead at 73 and 59. Or I'm sorry, Steve is in the lead, 77 and 55. I'm second, 73 and 59. King is 63 and 69. Those are the standings heading into this. All right.
I'm proud of myself.
Kind of cocky in your part, wasn't it?
I won the College Bowl thing.
By a margin.
Not by much.
It was by a game, right? I think I miscalculated. Yeah, all right. I was going to ask you about that.
What, did I do it wrong?
No, I probably did it wrong because I've been in and out. So what were the final standings there real fast?
I don't really have them, but
okay. All right,
it was if it was one game or we're tied.
There you go.
All
right.
Look, Matt has been so...
Steve took Alabama, so he lost. So.
Okay. I mean, Matt has been so locked into the Eagles. It's been a dizzying week.
That's right.
Stunned the Eagles are there. So
we'll save that for the end. So, well, other than that, we'll go in order. So let's start with Saturday, tomorrow at 4:35, Vegas at Cincy. King.
That's out of order for me. Vegas at Cincy. Cincinnati, Bengals.
Not going with Vegas.
They're playing very, very good.
Interesting that it's Joe Burrow's first playoff game, but it's also Derek Carr's.
That's right.
Yeah.
Great win for the Raiders on Sunday night. I think Cincinnati's playing pretty well. I'm going to go, and I, as you know, since day one, I've been a big Joe Burrow guy. Even when they weren't winning last year, I said he gives you a puncher's chance in every game. Cincinnati.
Real quick, what did you guys think of? Should they have gone for the tie?
No.
No. You talking about the Raiders? No. I mean, I always play to win, no matter what. But I think him calling the timeout for the Chargers, what are you doing? Make them make the decision.
I tossed it up. If you're the owner of the Chargers, you're like, what are you doing? We're talking about a few $1 million here, you know. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just, okay, I'll shut up. Go ahead.
All right. Saturday night, New England and Buffalo, round 3. Steve.
Winds will be 12 miles an hour, but very, very cold.
Yes.
But I bring up the wind because that was the factor up there the last time. Buffalo will win.
King.
I'm going to take the Pats with very little confidence.
Okay.
But I got Patriots.
I'm going to stick with Buffalo. I think they're playing better overall right now, especially Josh Allen. And I get you have the weather factor, but now that New England's done that remarkable game plan once, they're not going to get away with it again. So I'm going to lean Buffalo here at home. And then we can move to Sunday. We'll come back to the Eagles. 4:40, San Francisco at Dallas. Throwback to the 90s. King.
I got the Niners. I like the way they're playing. I like the way they run the ball.
This is one of my upsets of the week. San Fran, Dallas, overrated, and have not been playing well lately.
Sure.
Steve.
I picked the Niners.
There you go. I like it. All right. Monday Night Football, wild card style. Arizona at the Rams. Steve.
Arizona is 4-6 in their last 10 games. Look, a month and a half ago, I'd have picked Arizona in a heartbeat. But this time, I will take the Rams to win this game, especially at home.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Arizona's not playing very well right now. Neither is Kyler Murray. Rams haven't been that particularly great either, but I think defensively they'll be able to make some plays more and set up the offense. So I'm going to take the Rams at home.
Look, Cooper Kupp's going to be critical in this game.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford has thrown 8 interceptions the last 4 games, but only 1 when he was targeting Cooper Kupp.
There you go. King, who do you got?
Yeah, I got the Rams, too. I mean, these are two of those teams that, you know, at the start of the year, you're like, but they're so helter-skelter. They're 1 week they're great, the next week they stink. So, but the Rams stink less. So I got the Rams.
Perfect. That's how we do things in this country these days. The lesser of evils.
All right, since we're going to pick the Steelers game next, let's spice things up a little bit here. Sunday night football. Steelers and the Chiefs, round 2. King.
Well, my wish did not come true, and Ben Roethlisberger has another game. He is a phony human being. He's a rapist. So I got the Chiefs.
I am going with the Brett Veaches myself in this one. I gave my thoughts a little bit earlier. I just don't think the Steelers have enough offensively to keep up again.
Round 2, same as round 1. Chiefs, big.
There you go. All right. We'll keep the Sunday night music going here as we now pick the Eagles and the Bucks Sunday at 1 o'clock. Let's start with Steve.
Round 2, same as round 1. I'm trying to remember which team's got Brady. Oh, Tampa Bay.
King?
The Eagles will be wearing his new wardrobe. Brady hats on and stuff. I wish I could take the Eagles because I like their story, but I think the Bucks are playing as well as anybody right now.
Hey, look, the best quarterback the Eagles beat this year, it's either Matt Ryan or Teddy Bridgewater. Okay, I looked at the Pro Bowl rosters. I'm just scrolling here. Can't find either name.
Hey, they made the playoffs, man.
Correct.
They made it there.
It's amazing when they expand the playoffs, more people get in.
Hey, and they got a good running game. So.
Yeah, they got Miles Sanders back.
Yeah, I mean, you can run the ball in this league. Each week, it's just a mystery. I mean, who's good, who's not, you know?
You know what?
Look at the upsets in the past few weeks.
Miles Sanders is always going to be one of those special guys to me because he waited his turn and he stayed here and then he went to the NFL.
Yeah.
Not a lot of guys like that anymore.
He's as good a back as they've ever put out of there. He's good.
Yep. Outstanding.
All right. Well, I know I've given my thoughts all week. I know I was a little worried about Josh Sweat, but it's the playoffs. I think he's going to stick it out and play. Eagles, Eagles, 27-23.
Atta boy. There you go.
Well, there's a pick rooted in realism. All right.
You picked your team. If the Giants were in, would we pick the Giants, Steve?
Of course I would.
Yeah, right.
I'd be willing to go.
Holy crap.
Oh, the Giants
You're
are
listening
bad.
to News Radio 10.